So we're so thrilled to bring this next guest to the Rail Talk studio. He's a champion trainer, and now he is running for Senate as a Democrat in Kentucky. What were you thinking, Dale? Dale Romans, welcome to the show.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I think it's the first time I've been on with you guys.
Yeah, no, it's surprising because I run into you and cross paths with you so much. I'm so glad that you're on and so glad that you're running because, this is obviously a wide open race with Mitch McConnell stepping down. Can you just talk a little bit about, why did you jump straight to Senate? Because I think a lot of people think, oh, well, he didn't run for anything before, but you've had leadership positions in the industry. What made you choose this race?
Well, because it's an open seat, anybody can win. I was never going to run against Mitch McConnell. No one was ever going to unseat him. And, politics has always been a big part of my life behind the scenes, supporting politicians in Kentucky, going to Frankfurt to work on horse-related issues. I've been on Capitol Hill 4 times in the last 2 years working on things that are related to horse racing, and I've always liked politics, and I'm too old to start at a state house seat and try to work my way up. So, and I think I could get a lot done, and it's a good spot in my life. I mean, my kids are grown, and I'm in a good place, and I just think that I could go to Washington and do a lot of good stuff for Kentucky and for the country.
And Dale, how difficult is it? You're not. It's not unusual for you to be running long shots and winning. How difficult is it going to be an independent Democrat running in a red state?
Everybody says that a Democrat can't win in Kentucky, but I'm a very centrist Democrat. That's why I keep calling myself independent Democrat, because if you win from Kentucky, it brings a lot of power for Kentucky to Washington, because you don't have to vote with the party. You can vote for what's right for Kentucky, but you're not a puppet to the president. And it's Joe Manchin type of thing, what he did in West Virginia. West Virginia is more red than Kentucky. And he went up there, I think he was one of the most popular senators on Capitol Hill, because he always did what he thought was right. He wasn't anybody's puppet at either side. And I'd like to go up and do the same thing. And when they say a Democrat can't win in Kentucky, we had 2 institutions on Capitol Hill for 30 years apiece, in Jim Bunning and Mitch McConnell. No one was going to beat them. And then I don't know that our candidate was as strong as we needed against Rand Paul. He came in with a lot of money, name recognition. So there hasn't been a whole lot of opportunity for someone to win. And we did vote in the last 2 terms a Democrat governor who's done a great job and is very popular in the state of Kentucky. I mean, he's one of the guys I want to use as a role model when I go to Washington.
Yeah, well, that's a good lead into my next question. Andy Beshear is who you're referring to. He is super popular as a Democrat in a red state. Like, how do you think that he's done that? And is there any lessons or, kind of knowledge that you've gained from him and watching him?
Yeah, he did just what we're talking about. He's a very centered Democrat, and he's worked for both sides. He hasn't let politics get in the way of what he does in Frankfurt. And I think that's pretty obvious. But you look at the jobs he's brought into the state and the way he handled a lot of the tragedies we had. We had a lot of problems with floods and tornadoes and stuff in Kentucky. We've done a really good job of maneuvering through those things. And I think that he just put Kentucky first, way ahead of politics.
And Dale, what do you think are the 2 or 3 most important, items going on right now in Kentucky, whether they're horse related or not?
Well, it's definitely economy, healthcare. I mean, for the entire state of Kentucky, those would be your 2 biggest things. I think education, that we could bring education in the 21st century. I was diagnosed severely dyslexic in 2nd grade and had a really hard time with traditional learning. I don't think you have to educate kids that had the problems I had that way anymore. I think there's a lot of things in education that could be changed to put knowledge in someone's brain. At the end of the day, that's what we want to do. I mean, I couldn't read a book or write a book report, but I could have watched documentary videos and told you word for word what went on in there, and really gotten a good education. There are those types of things. Medicaid cuts are going to be a problem. The tariffs are a problem for Kentucky. I mean, they're crushing our bourbon industry, as everybody can see. And those things need to be worked on for Kentucky.
One of your key platform planks, I think, is going to be immigration. That's one of the things that you've been working on behind the scenes on behalf of racing. Now it's going to be on behalf of a broader population. And, can you speak to the humanitarian factor of it? Because I know the economic argument is a strong one and people ignore it at their own peril. But you've done a lot of advocacy on behalf of the immigrant community in racing. I think it's because you actually want to look out for them. But I also imagine it's a result of you having worked so closely with them over the years. What impressions have those experiences working so close with the immigrant community had on you and what you want to do?
Well, first of all, business needs the immigrant workforce. Our business and other businesses, agriculture, agriculture, hospitality, construction. They all are dependent on that immigrant workforce. These are jobs that Americans don't have to do. They're not what you would call high-quality jobs. They're intensive labor, bad hours, and there's too much opportunity in this country. And on the humanitarian side, I hate seeing the people that I know who work on the backside that are an immigrant workforce working on visas lumped in with criminals, murderers, drug dealers that we keep hearing about. I mean, that's such a small percentage of the immigrants that are in this country. Our country was built with an immigrant labor force, and we continue to need it today. And the other thing is the Democrats keep talking about a path to citizenship. I think if I go on the backside and talk to 99% of the immigrant workforce, they're not worrying about having a path to citizenship. They want a work permit, and that's what we want to try to get done, is just get a work permit if you're sponsored by an employer, and that you get a background check and you're not a criminal and you're going to pay your taxes, you can be a productive member of the United States, then you're welcome in this country. And we need you here. And we need to pull the bad. If we pull all the good out of the shadows, then what's left and can't follow through that process, can't get sponsored, can't pass a vet, then we need to collect those people and send them out of this country. Well, you can't take 11 million people out of the workforce of this country and just send them home. You want to talk about rising costs and affordability. Let's get rid of the labor force and see what happens.
Right.
So we need to be pragmatic about this thing. Don't deport, document.
Yep. And Dale, just I think it's human nature where when we achieve something, we want to try for the next thing. When we win a claiming race, we want to win allowance races. When we win allowance races, we want to win stakes, and then all the way up to the classics. Let's fast forward. You win and become senator. At that point in time, are you looking to aspire to other things, or you want to just represent the Commonwealth of Kentucky?
I'm just worried about the Commonwealth of Kentucky and our country. And, I think that we've been governed for too long now by the wings of each party, and we need to get people back in the center. And I know I'd just be one of 100, but let's try that first step. Let's try something different. I'm a unique candidate, in my opinion, in everybody's opinion. I'm every man in Kentucky, and that's what's supposed to be represented when you go to Washington, D.C. You don't need to be a career politician. I was raised by a single mother, basically raising 3 boys by herself, paycheck to paycheck, working at a union at the telephone company. And we didn't know we were poor, but we were dirt poor. And then I've gotten to be pretty successful in our signature industry here. And I've built a business. I've had a labor force working under me. I've created jobs. I understand the hardships of anyone starting a small business. A small business owner is a middle-class guy that's made a good job for himself. And that's basically what I've done. And you employ other people. That's where we need to really concentrate and build America from the middle out.
Yeah. But I'm curious, like, if, you are pretty well known in Kentucky, if that kind of factored into your decision at all, because I think at one point it was like, well, what does a celebrity know about running for office? But then you had Schwarzenegger as governor of California. Obviously you got Trump as the president right now. I think it's gotten to a point where it's not a hindrance. Sometimes it's even a benefit. Did that factor in your decision at all, that you are pretty well known in Kentucky?
Well, I've got a little name recognition in Louisville and Lexington, of course, and most of that was people that gamble too much, but it's
like me.
Yeah, like you guys. But yeah, there's still a lot of the state that have no idea who I am. I've got to get out there and introduce myself and let them know. But you're right. Trump never held office. Schwarzenegger never held office. Was the governor of Minnesota that was a professional wrestler that went into Minnesota and did a good job. I mean, Capitol Hill is supposed to be for the common man that understands the hardships of people. It's not supposed to be for career politicians. And believe me, I won't be in there for a long time, but I want to be in there for quality time.
Yep. And the obvious question is, how are you going to be able to balance both? How are you going to be able to balance your duties to the Commonwealth and also to your employees and your owners and your horses?
Well, during the campaign, it's easy. I've just told all my guys, nothing starts till after 11. Everybody on the campaign trail, and most people have a job they have to report to. You got to pay your bills along the way. And horse racing is more than a job or a career for me. It's I've been going to barn 4 at Churchill Downs since I was 9 months old. My mother says first time she took me. I can't imagine not showing up there. So the campaign's easy. When we get to Washington, D.C., we'll figure it out. But, in saying that, Christina and Baltimore, my 2 main assistants, started with me 40 years ago. Tammy's been with me 35 years ago. Laura, that runs all the office, I met when I was 17 years old. This is a family business that we've all worked together for a long time, keeping this ship straight. And I think we can continue to do so.
Yeah. All right. Last question from me. And it's more of a general political question, because especially in a red state, I have to imagine you're not banking on flipping red voters to blue. I think your path is to get non-voters to vote. And I think that's a big sticking point for a lot of politicians, is like, how do I motivate the person to get off the couch and go out and vote? And I think with good reason, people are cynical at this point in terms of like the government gridlock and, what they've seen over the past 10 years in particular. How do you get those people to come out and vote, maybe for the first time? How do you get them to participate when they think, it doesn't matter who I vote for, it all ends up being the same and I get screwed?
Well, I want to use the internet. I want to use social media. Griffin Johnson and my son are working with me for that part of it. I want to introduce myself to people and make them feel like there's a guy that I want to go register to vote for. You're right. You got to win all the Democrats. You got to win the independents. You got to get some new voters, new energy out there to understand that they're voting for something different. And I think we'll get a part of the Republican Party too. I got a lot of Republican friends. In this business, we've got a lot of Republicans, and I keep running into them. A lot of them say, I've never donated to a Republican, never voted for a Republican, but you're one, or Democrat, but you're one I can. And then, that kind of fuels the fire. And I think that the Republican, 3 candidates running on the Republican side are pretty far right. So I think there's a big center of the Republican Party that will look at me and say, hey, we can work with this guy.
And with that point, if people want to contribute to the campaign, what's the best route for them?
Just go to DaleRomans.com and you can contribute. We'd appreciate it. It does take a lot of money. We were talking about before we came on air. It's kind of ridiculous the amount of money it takes for someone to run a campaign. But it's worthwhile. And I promise you, invest in me, I'll make it pay off for you when we get to Capitol Hill. And if you're a Republican, you don't have to be afraid to vote for me. There's not that much difference between us.
It's good to say that right at the end. Yeah. And also just having a racing advocate in the Senate is huge. As I mentioned earlier, Mitch McConnell helped get HISA put into place. So an advocate for our sport is not something that should be ignored as well, right, Dale?
That's right. I will always be an advocate for horse racing. Mitch did get HISA in place. Now I'm going to go in there and fix it. It's got a few tweaks that needs made to it. I mean, it was an unfunded mandate that I think that's going to put a lot of hardship on the smaller racetracks around this country that are as important as Churchill Downs and Keeneland. We need to keep that going. But my motto now is I'm not going up there and fight. You'll never hear me on the stump saying, I want to go fight for you. I'm going up there and work for you, fight. I want to fight. I don't want to fight. I want to fix. And, with too much fighting going on, and I can work with anybody. I'll reach across the aisle, and I don't care who gets the credit. Let's just do some good stuff for Kentucky and for our country.
We'd love to have you in the Senate. Dale Romans, best of luck on your run, and it's always great talking to you, man. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, guys. Hopefully I'm on here a bunch between now and next November.
Let's do it.
Look forward to it. Thanks.